Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Walking with Beau. Very hot and humid tonight. What I mean by hot and humid is it was 90 degrees today, but the dew point right now is 73, which is usually what you get down in Missouri, St. Louis, and down south. Typically, we don't get that too often here. So this is about as warm and sticky as it gets in Maine, which is comparable to other places. It's going to be 89 tomorrow, 90 the day after. Tomorrow we're supposed to have some rain mixed in though, so it won't be as bad. But right now it's about 78 degrees and the sun's going down, 80, somewhere around there. Pretty nice. So I was just watching the quote unquote the big boy press conference by Biden tonight overseas with the world leaders, or wherever the hell he was. And kind of more of the same. He did a better job tonight, but if you were paying attention, I'm sure the media is going to point it out because they're trying to get rid of him. He had a pre-scripted, and I'm sure of that. He was reading off a teleprompter. He was reading off a teleprompter. He also had a list. He had a list of reporters to call on. So he had pre-scripted questions that he got ahead of time. New York Times already posted about that. A lot of media people did too. He's been doing interviews, and the White House got caught supplying the questions. They even edited a couple of radio shows. They screened Biden's replies and they had the radio show edit a couple of those out. So this was more of the same of that. His answers were, I mean, that's not to mention, he introduced Zelensky as Putin. He did that. He also called Trump a vice president. So he's still doing the same things. Just wasn't as bad tonight because pretty much most of what he was doing was on teleprompter right in front of him while he was answering questions. So they were pre-screened questions. He had the answers in front of him, and he still messed up a couple of those. So I don't think tonight's big boy performance did anything to really change anybody's minds. The other thing I've been finding very comical today is 4 different polling companies saying that Kamala Harris would beat Trump. Because what happened was a leak from inside the White House leaked that the Biden campaign was polling to see how Kamala would do against Trump. And that was leaked to the media. So they're thinking about it, and they're going to do it. They're going to do it. Biden's finished. They've already decided. Barack Obama was speaking up. Donors have made themselves clear. They want him out. The DNC doesn't want him in there. And we get the Democratic convention coming up. They're going to choose who they want. So Biden was asked that tonight, and he said, well, whatever they do, they're going to do. The voters wanted me, and I'm the candidate. So the DNC can do what they want with their delegates. So the voters don't want Joe. That's been made very clear, so I don't even know what he's talking about. But so that's kind of what's going on tonight with that. Basically had pre-picked questions, picked reporters, teleprompted answers, and he just read from teleprompters. So they had the questions and answers ahead of time. So I'm sure they didn't fool anybody. I guess the point is people are still sitting there saying, oh geez, well, he kind of got through this okay. We're talking about the President of the United States. Why is that even a discussion? Shouldn't even be here talking about it. But anyway, oh, that was the other thing too. Tonight, I don't know how many times he said anyway, because he couldn't figure out what he was going to say next when he was talking to the media without the teleprompter. They go, and this and that, and anyway. He also had kind of like a low tone voice, kind of weak sounding. He didn't sound strong and normal. So then he did his creepy whisper voice a couple of times too. It isn't working. That kind of thing. I'm gonna make a bold prediction. I'll probably get crap for it. That's okay. Now, I'm not an expert in any of this stuff, really. Just intuition, guess, whatever. But I think Biden's gonna be done within 72 hours. Just my guess. Seems like everybody's already decided. George Clooney and these guys coming out talking like they did yesterday and stuff before this big speech. Pretty much it doesn't matter how Biden did at the speech tonight, and he didn't do well tonight. He didn't do horrible, but he was mediocre at best, and he had a teleprompter. So that much is certain, and I'm sure the media who's been trying to get rid of him, they're going to point that out. New York Times is probably going to mention something about that. But I found it most comical that they were saying that Kamala Harris was tied or would beat Trump. Literally 2 days ago, I'm not even joking, 2 days ago, before the White House leak that they were polling Kamala, 2 days before that happened, 6 polls came out. All of them said Kamala had no freaking chance against Trump. Biden was the best option against Trump. Biden actually pulled the best out of all of them. Now all of a sudden Kamala is right up there. So that's all BS. It's all fake. Kamala Harris is an idiot. Everybody knows that. She's not very smart. I don't mean that to be degrading or anything. I'm not saying it because she's a woman. I'm not saying it for any reason. She's just not smart. She giggles and cackles and laughs at her own jokes. And she did that same repetitive thing she always says all the time. She repeated herself today. She regurgitates the same speech. And it's freaking comical. It's embarrassing. So, whew. It's getting dark. We'll get through here. Ooh, ultra steamy tonight. So Trump's been doing the best thing. He really has. He has been sitting back, not saying anything. He's been quiet. He's been letting the Democrats throw knives at each other. Very smart. Let them go after each other. Let the dust settle. Now, one thing that will happen is I believe Biden's coming out. He just doesn't know it yet. Somebody's going to have a talk with him. Probably going to be Barack, because Biden trusts him. And Biden said at that conference today, he was asked if it was shown that Kamala was polling better than he was against Trump. Remember, I just said they've been polling 2 days ago saying that's not the case. Now, all of a sudden today, there's a couple of polls that say Kamala ties or beats Trump. That's rigged. So, I think they want to use Biden's team to show that to him and Jill and say that you're just not going to win, but Kamala has a chance to beat him. Because at the conference today, Biden was asked if he would step down if somebody else would beat Trump. And he said, who is that? He goes, I'm the best one to beat Trump. He goes, I've seen the polls. And he said, if he was told there's no way he could win, which I'm guessing has to come from his wife Jill, then he said he would consider it. That's what he said tonight. So it's right from his mouth. Don't know if he intended to say that or not. But that was one of the questions from one of the reporters that were picked. And so basically he said, I'm their guy, that's what the voters want, which they don't. But he's in a bubble, they've told him that. And he probably believes he's the best chance to beat Trump. And he may be right in that, from what I've seen. But anyway, talking about Kamala, now all of a sudden we got 2 polls that say she has a chance to beat Trump, just out of the blue. Not even 2 days ago, there was 4 polls that said she was down 6, 7, 8 points. To Trump. And the other thing too that nobody's factored in yet is RFK Jr. polling has definitely shown that he's going to siphon off about 9.5 points. He's going to get 9.5% of the vote. And some of that is going to come off the Democratic ticket, people that don't want Biden. So that's the thing with elections, you know. What are the independents going to do? You know, are they polling registered voters or are they polling voters? That's the other factor in these polls. So anyway, the latest Ipsos said Kamala Harris had 47% and Trump had 45%. So they got Kamala Harris 2 points ahead of Trump. All of a sudden, miraculously, out of the blue. Too convenient. She made up 8 or 9 points in 2 days since the debate. Oh, it's obviously a bunch of bull. So we'll let them play their games and their shenanigans. We'll see what they do. But, you know, Trump has been quiet. He hasn't been making noise. He did post something funny today, though. Somebody made a video editing George Clooney clips from movie scenes he's done. And then they edited in Joe Biden interview with George Stephanopoulos on ABC. Just sitting there with the blank stare while George is telling him that he's going to be fired. He hasn't been doing a good job. It was so funny. And Trump is really funny. He really is. So he posted that on his Truth Social. I thought it was pretty hilarious. Yeah, so he called Trump, Vice President Trump. He called Vladimir Zelensky. He called him Putin. He caught himself on that one, though. He was ready to walk off. And then he goes, oh, no, I mean Putin. He goes, well, I got Putin on my mind, he said. He made up this quick little reply to cover up. So that's just my prediction. Within 72 hours. And the reason why I say that is nobody is going to be running for office with no money. They have canceled the fundraisers. The big billionaires have gotten in touch. They're saying we want a new candidate. And they're going to get it one way or the other. But you really literally cannot force Biden to resign. And if they've made that decision and Biden's not budging, you might see the party do the unthinkable and nominate somebody else at the convention. They have every right to do that. They would have liked to have had Kamala Harris, but, you know, they can schmooze that over with black voters. And they seem to fall for everything the Democrats tell them, basically. So again, I'm seeing polling like Biden has lost 25% of the black vote. He's lost 60% or more of the Hispanic vote because of immigration. So the only group Biden is doing well with is women. That's it. He's polling 58% with women. Biden, Trump is down around 32% or something like that. So it's not good. I mean, obviously you got RFK mixed in there, things like that, but pretty much Trump's getting shellacked on women, which is why I'm kind of hoping for a female vice president. I think it helps him. But whoever he picks, okay with me. Ooh. I think I got a bug bite on my leg already. Wearing shorts. Gets hot and humid like this, the bugs get hungry. So we're gonna have an interesting time watching how this shakes out. But make no mistake, Biden was not saved tonight. By his performance. Sometimes they try to do so well for him, it's going to hurt him, because I'm absolutely certain the teleprompter thing is going to pop up. Pre-scripted questions. With part of the news cycle today being that the campaign got caught having pre-scripted questions. The New York Times actually reported that. So when you get the New York Times against you and the Washington Post leaking out of the White House about them polling Kamala, see how she would do against Trump, the decision's already been made. I just don't know how to do it. So that would mean that Bill O'Reilly was correct with his source last week, who said the decision has been made. They just don't know how they're going to do it, because Biden ain't going to want to leave. So they have a couple of ugly ways to force him out. You're not going to see the 25th Amendment. They could do that, and they would be probably successful with it. But they're not going to work with Republicans to do that. If they had a Democrat House, they probably would. Just so they can say, you know, well, Democrats did this, I'm really sorry. But, you know, we need to beat Trump. So the media is going off on this Project 25 thing by the Heritage Foundation, like it's something Trump did, which he didn't. They're desperately trying to find something that sticks against Trump. The abortion issue isn't panning out as well as they thought. Because basically, you know, with the abortion issue, to be honest with you, Trump didn't have the women's vote anyway. He just didn't. So, you know, the abortion issue, if it hurts Trump, well, he's not going to win the female vote anyway. And a lot of the females that are Republicans, they support banning abortion anyways. So, but, you know, the point is abortion hasn't been banned. That's really the important thing. It got sent back to the states, and democratically, you know, like Kansas, for example, the voters went out and they voted and they changed the election in their favor on the abortion issue. Well, good for them. That's democracy. That's what you do. That's what you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to have a Supreme Court regulate the entire country, all 50 states. So Biden also took the opportunity tonight to insult the Supreme Court again, saying that they were a bunch of conservative rogue, basically calling them like dictators. Then you had Ocasio-Cortez introduce official impeachment documents on Alito and Thomas, because they didn't get their way. And that's never going to go anywhere, by the way. In case you're wondering about it, it needs, it's not like your regular best of 50. I mean, you got to have 60 votes on that. You got to have trials. And you also would have to have the House pass that as well, which right now is Republican. It would have to be Democrat, and it would have to be by a pretty big number for that to pass. And I just don't think it's going to happen anywhere or anytime soon. They just don't like to lose. They are the worst sore losers in the history of the United States in sore losing. They're still angry that Hillary lost, which is the other thing I saw today. Our intel agencies were kind enough to inform the public today that Russia is trying to cheat in favor of Trump again. So here we go with Russian election interference 2.0. Probably 3.0 at this time, because they did that in the last election too. So these people are a clown show, okay? Whew. I am sweating a lot tonight right now. So that's what's on their docket. That's what they're trying to do. And people need to go out and vote. Right now, Trump is winning huge in the swing states, the biggie important states. Biden is tied with Trump in Pennsylvania. That's his home state, okay? And so a lot of people were speculating if they do succeed in getting Biden to step down, and let's say they choose Kamala, they're going to have to throw a name with her on the ticket, obviously. And they're going to push her as the first black woman. That is definitely going to maybe affect some of the black votes that Trump had won over, unfortunately. And they're going to pick somebody to run with her, probably a woman, somebody like Whitmer in Michigan, maybe Governor Beecham. He's a Democrat. He's kind of got his nose clean as far as what we know. He's definitely not a household name, but we would have enough time to meet him anyway and find out what he's about, and I'm sure people would do the research. There's probably a lot of info on him already, I just haven't heard it. And you know, here's the free analysis from somebody that is not an expert in this. I'm not. But using common sense, okay, let's say they get Biden to step down. What's the first reaction from Democrat voters? Oh, what a relief. Oh my God, this is awesome. I don't care who they throw in there, as long as it's not him and he's going to live long enough for me to vote for him, you know? That kind of thing. There's going to be immediate euphoria from voters. And it's going to affect the polls for two reasons. One, the media is going to stop being negative to Biden. That's going to end like snapping your fingers. They are going to start fluffing whoever that person is they named, talking about all the scenarios, all the stuff reporters love, and they're going to go right back to throwing knives at Donald Trump. Then if it's Kamala, well, She was the first black vice president. She could very well be the first female and first black president. Black female president. We had Barack, who was black. So that bridge has already been changed or crossed. But they got the female as president. A lot of these women were open about it. They didn't like Hillary, but they voted for Hillary anyway because they wanted to see a female president. Couldn't care less about what kind of job she would do. If she was corrupt, didn't matter. They just voted for her because they wanted a female president. That's when the feminist thing was going at the time, before the transgender lunacy that they're doing. And so remember, we ended up after the election getting the whole Me Too movement going. Believe her. Anybody that says this or that, you have to believe them. Women, women, women. Now it's like, well, we're going to give all of womanhood to trans people. Screw the women. The hell with them. That's what they're doing. That's why a lot of these feminists are not very happy. And they shouldn't be. They fight all this time to get all these rights and equal pay and all that, and they turn around and give all of this stuff to trans people, letting them play against girls on sports teams, stealing scholarships from high school girls, free paid college scholarship. You know, this boy wearing a girl's swimsuit dominates and wins, and he gets the college scholarship for women because he said he was one. A lot of anger is building up. So I'm more interested to see how that affects voting, because as I mentioned on previous walks, the Democrats have made a change with, they're not promoting it like they were. Then you had that leak out of the White House with Levine, Rachel Levine, Admiral Levine, or do we call her Admirella? So Admirella Levine, it was leaked. She's the one that was pushing transgender surgeries for minors and affirmative care because she's a trans activist in a powerful position. She did the same thing in Pennsylvania. She was picked because she's from Joe State, and she helped the Democratic Party there, and this is her reward. So what leaked was the White House saw that the public doesn't really care about that. In fact, they're starting to get upset about it. But they kept that quiet because of the groups behind it and the money involved. So that's what leaked. And if we had a real media, they'd make a big story out of it. But we don't. All they care about is Trump is beating Biden, so we have to trash Biden and get him out of there. So they didn't all of a sudden find their journalistic skill again out of how shameful they've been since 2014 and beyond before that for Obama. This is I donated to the Biden campaign. I'm not happy about how things are going, and I'm a reporter, so I'm going to help do something about it. Biden's not beating Trump. So I'm going to do my part to help get rid of him. That's what you're seeing. As soon as he's gone, they'll go back to being how they were, probably even worse than they were. If you have noticed, all they've been talking about is Biden. They haven't been talking about Trump too much. He's been quiet, which is good. They haven't been talking about people not being able to afford food. What's Biden going to do to fix housing? They haven't been talking about anything. other than Biden's dementia and degenerative mental health associated with old age. So that's been the news cycle since the debate. And so this all helps Trump, obviously. But like I said, they were hoping to have Biden out of here by now. I'm sure he was asked to step down after the debate, and we all heard his answer. No, I am not going anywhere. I am the candidate. Nobody is going to make me quit, he said. And he may be right about that. He may just stay there and force the Democrats to remove him. So this is going to be interesting to watch. They are definitely fluffing polls for Kamala to make her look more viable. I think it's more to convince their voters. The poll's not meant for Trump supporters to look at. You know, it's made for us to look at and laugh at it because we know it's ridiculous. Kamala's not beating Trump. But they need to change public opinion. And they need to get some support real quick from voters before the convention coming up to get Biden out of there. So there's a lot of games going on, a lot of moving parts. I really urge you to get online and follow what's going on. It's really quite spectacular. I've never seen anything like this in my lifetime. So, a nice moon tonight. Kind of a quarter moon, I guess. Did not walk yesterday because it was hot and humid. I also had to get some stuff at the store and a couple other things to do as well. So by the time it was coming around, like, should I go for a walk or not? It was coming up on 10:30 at night. And I was like, well, it's getting kind of late. Go walk for an hour and 40 minutes. Come back, take a shower, eat something. Then before you know it, it's like late, you know? So last walk I did 6 miles. So anyway, I'll just do 5 miles tonight, 5 1/4. Call it good. At least I can say I went for my walk. I wasn't lazy about it. Not a crime to take a day off. I've had 2 out of the last 9 though, which is okay. I mean, I don't, physically, to be honest with you, I'm not really gonna get any extra benefit from walking every single day because I'm gonna get more wear and tear, and that day off will actually help recoup, which is why people don't work every day of the week. And in other words, with the walking I'm doing, the weight I've lost, the shape I'm in, to maintain that shape, I don't have to walk every day. If I was trying to lose weight, then I would say yes, I should. But I'm at a happy medium, lowest weight since I've been in high school. And, feel good, I look good. I get out of the shower, I don't look horrible for my age, so that's good. That's not a bad thing. And so it is nice walking when it's warm like it is tonight. And it's going to be warm for a little while coming up. Quite a few days, it looks like. I mean, we got a day with some rain showers. We were supposed to get today and yesterday. We were supposed to get the remnants of Hurricane Beryl. A lot of Maine did get that. Northern Maine, we didn't really see anything. Northern Maine, though, they had torrential rain. So that's what I thought we were going to get, but it stayed more in New Hampshire, went through northern Maine and Quebec. So So it's all good. Got somebody running here with a light. I'm going the street here, give them their space because I'm courteous. Hi.
Hi.
Guy's got a squeaky shoe. Squeaky. We just hit 2.5 miles. Yeah, so Joe looked weak and frail tonight. Sounded it, he looked a lot better. And they've been doing that first speech he did after the debate. They had way too much tanning stuff on him. And he looked like Orange Man, okay? He looked like Trump. Too much bronzer on. Trump does put too much tanning stuff on. He thinks it looks good. He's happy with it, fine, that's great. Biden doesn't usually do that, has never done that, and they just did that to make him look good. Now, this past couple of speeches, they've toned down the toner, and I have to admit, he's actually looked better. He hasn't looked like he's pasty white. He's not pasty nursing home white, okay? Like he was at the debate. They definitely made him look better. So they're doing what they can. I mean, you gotta tip your cap. As Trump said, he's a broken down pile of crap. You got what you got to work with. You know, they leaked that video clip of Trump. They thought it would make him look bad, where he's on his golf cart saying Biden was a broken down pile of crap. But it actually made him look good because he was like, after he said it, he goes, you know, it's too bad. It's too bad. And then he goes, Kamala, jeez, she's effing terrible. She's so effing bad, he said. So he actually looked like he felt bad for Biden. You know, he felt bad. He doesn't, I don't think he wants to beat Biden that way. You know what I mean? So, I think Biden's done more to beat himself. That was a car, you probably didn't see that, but that car had a trash bag in the window because the window was broken, and that was rattling around in the wind pretty good. Always a terrible thing. That's one of those things where if you can do that yourself, you're better off, because it's kind of time intensive, and you know, a lot of times when you have that done, it's not a cheap repair, and it's all labor, time to do it, that sort of thing. Walk down this way. I'll take this route today. Have better street lighting. The other thing I've noticed is I've been putting up a little bit slower time per mile. And I think it's because of all the walking I've been doing. And I'm getting fatigued. I mean, the time I did per mile it's not a horrible time by any means, but 16 minutes and 30 seconds per mile is my fastest time. Is not 15 minutes and 30 seconds per mile like my previous times when I started walking this year. So I've lost a minute per mile. Not a whole lot, just something I've noticed. Might be for different reasons. It might be just simply because I'm talking more, because there's more stuff going on. Like right now, I'm talking instead of focusing on walking. It might just be that. So. You know what I hate is when cars go by and somebody yells at me. It really makes me angry. I hate that. Happened right when I started this walk. You won't see it on the upload because it was on the part I was recording, setting up the camera before I actually start recording, just to test it. I do that before every walk because there's been a couple of times where I walked and where I thought the camera wasn't good enough, and I ended up getting like too much ground up in the picture. A couple times I got like too much sky and couldn't see the ground in front of me. So we should be coming up on 3 miles here shortly. My back is a little upset tonight. Actually, I was just falling asleep. I turned, and when I turned, something in my hip popped, and it actually felt good to go to sleep with. That pain I usually have most of the time was subsided. I think, oh, that's nice. And now it's sore a little bit. One thing I can tell you, that once you screw your back up, it's like your knees. Once you have a bad knee, you are always gonna have a bad knee, even if you get it fixed. You won't be able to do what you used to do with it. It might cause you to be pain-free. Whew. Definitely humid tonight. It was very humid last night, and it's just as humid, if not a little more, tonight. So I'm watching this video earlier. I'm like, just hit 3 miles. So I'm like, what the hell's going on in this world? What the F is happening? So there's a neighborhood. I don't even remember the name of the neighborhood in San Francisco, but it's considered a, what they call it, a gayborhood, okay? Pretty much everybody that lives in that neighborhood is gay, openly. The police pretty much just let them do what they want in that neighborhood. That's where we've gone today. So I'm watching this video, It's like a few men, okay? A few men just walking around in the daytime on the sidewalk. They're all butt naked, okay? They're all naked, gay and naked. I have no idea where they're keeping their cell phone. I don't even want to know. So, there's somebody vacationing there from Brazil. And some guy that is a transient who is a nut job in San Francisco, surprise, shocker, has a propane torch. You know, one of those Burns-O-Matic ones you can buy at Home Depot or whatever. It's like 10 bucks. You get the brass nozzle on it to do brazing, on soldering on pipes, things like that. So he's attacking the tourist with it. It's lit. He's trying to set the tourist on fire. So these naked gay men start attacking this guy with the torch. Now, as you can imagine, this is quite the video. I saw the censored version, thank God. But they're trying to set this tourist on fire. Another guy is filming it. He's scared out of his mind. You can hear him talking. He's got this little femme voice. He's all scared to death, okay? So this other guy, younger guy, very fit. He's wearing a skirt and a woman's shirt, but he's got no makeup. He's got regular hair. He's just dressed like a girl. And so they're fighting with this guy that's got the torch. So the guy with that dress sneaks up behind him and grabs the torch away from him when he wasn't looking. So then the guy that had the torch had something else in his hand, and he smacked the tourist right on the freaking top of the head with it. And the tourist, obviously it hurt him. He went down, sort of. Then one of the gay naked guys tackled the guy that had the torch into the road, took a really terrible swipe at him to try to punch him, completely missed. It wasn't a very good, solid throw at all. But, you know, the point is, probably would be embarrassing to get knocked out cold by a naked gay guy in San Francisco, but anyway, apparently they saved the tourist. The tourist was very thankful. The video stopped there because the guy that was scared went into the store and stopped recording. Oh, be careful out there. Get in here, get in here. He's talking to his boyfriend there. So anyway, a tourist definitely has a story to tell. I was in a neighborhood in San Francisco, and naked gay men saved me from somebody trying to light me on fire with a torch. Welcome to friggin' America. So that's my bizarre thing I saw for today. All right, what do we got here? I'll just go across here. So that's my word for the day. I'd never heard of that word before. Gayborhood. G-A-Y-B. Gaybor. Yeah, G-A-Y-B-O-R-H-O-O-D. I think that's what it was. I think it was called Canton Street, or the Canton neighborhood in San Francisco. I guess it's a known gayborhood. That's one of those places where they removed the U-turn signs. I didn't know the history behind the U-turn sign. The U-turn sign was not invented because of gay reasons, but in the 50s and 60s they were used in California. Because at the time, you know, you didn't have the internet or dating apps. So people would go cruising, it was called. And so they would drive around known gay neighborhoods. And of course you drive by and you don't get lucky with anybody, well, you got to drive all the way around to go by again. So people were just doing a U-turn and going back on the other side of the street. So the police started posting U-turn signs. Obviously, they're not used anymore. Nobody cares about them. There's dating apps, but they just wanted to make a point during Pride Month where the city in San Francisco removed the U-turn signs in all of the Alameda County. So now there's no more U-turns. In California, you go past where you're supposed to go, well, you're screwed. You have to go the long way to turn around just to make some people happy. So, better make sure you get what you're looking for in the neighborhood. Probably should just get out of your car and walk around naked with everybody else there. Maybe you'll find a future husband or wife. Who knows? It's California. But a lot of people were watching Biden tonight to see how he was going to perform in front of world leaders. And he got by with a teleprompter. That's the best way I can put it. And he was clearly using a teleprompter. He was reading it too well. We have seen him speak before, and he can't do that. So, and even then, he mispronounced things and said things that didn't make sense. So I don't think it changed anybody's minds. But he wasn't horrible, but he had a lot of help. He definitely, if he was going to do another debate with Trump, he would not do that. So they're not going to do another debate. I'm calling that now. I'm also calling that Biden's not going to make it for another 72 hours, 3 days. So that's that. My opinion. That's all it is. Just my opinion. What the hell do I know, right? I'm also trying a darker cam setting because I did like the amount of light in the last walk, but I don't like how it looks on scenes that are dark, because then everything turns kind of like blue with blue noise, I call it. And I do like how well lit areas look with this setting I'm using now, but in darker areas you can't see much. So I was trying to find a happy medium. That's all I'm going to get out of this, is what you're seeing now. And I do have it in the middle of my chest with the chest mount, the body cam, which has a lot less this back and forth stuff. It's actually watchable. If I put it on my head, it just doesn't look good. So best picture quality is in the daytime, regardless when the sun's out. So I'm pretty much used to this equipment now. And you know, if I had a bigger, faster internet, like some of the speeds you get in the big cities, I'd be able to do things in 4K and things like that. But right now I am ripping for YouTube quality, which generally speaking I can choose 720p or 1080p. Nothing you've seen on the channel is as good a quality as what the camera records, in other words. Because in the process of converting it to video, to upload, and editing, and then uploading it, YouTube compresses it, and they do a really good job. YouTube's uploading quality is much better than it was even just 2 years ago. So it's not that. It's just between the picture quality of the camera, where you'll have an 11-minute segment that's 40 gigabytes, okay? That same 11-minute segment will end up being 1.3 gigabytes after everything's all edited and processed. So it's noticeably, looks okay, doesn't look horrible. But when you look at things like when I'm walking like this, I'll wait till this motorcycle goes by, and a Mustang. When you're walking like this and you see the road in front of you, a lot of times you'll see like a little bit of pixelating blocks, kind of like Minecraft or something. And on the regular file that's recorded, it doesn't do that. So I'll go this way. And I'm only going to go, I don't really want to go this way, but the reason why I'm going this way is because tonight, to get my 5 miles, because of the route I took, this will come out to about 0.2 of a mile discrepancy. It's not horrible. It's not horrible to go this way anyway. I mean, look, you got a nice, really nice yard right here. This camera is going to be good for Halloween decor this year. Didn't really get a chance to use it last year too much because we had some storms and we had other things. And I was using my cell phone last year for Halloween. Didn't have this camera yet. So now we get the camera. A couple of them actually. This is the better one, better quality. This is a GoPro Hero 9. Hero 9 Black, it's called. Usually sells between $2 and $2.30. Something like that. They have more expensive ones that do a lot more. But once you get into it and you fidget with things, you can get some half-decent night video like I am. And it's only because I'm using the Super View. And I'm using some of the hyper smooth. I'm just not using the full boost, which is a stabilizer, because it creates light anomalies. But it looks pretty good, picture quality wise. Need to fix that air conditioner. Yes, Dad, I know I just made you chuckle. Miss you, Pops. So, what the hell are we going to see? What are we going to see this year for the election? What's going to happen? Who's the candidate for the Democrats going to be? Are they going to stick with crusty old, corrupt, broken down Joe? So the Republicans passed the SAVE Act. It's basically a Save America Act, Save Our Elections Act. It's to make voting, if you're illegal, if you're not a citizen, illegal. And it passed in the House. Republicans passed it. Even got 4 Democrats to vote for it. I'd be willing to bet, I didn't check yet, but I'd be willing to bet Jared Golden here in Maine, in the red district, voted yes for that. I will check to verify that. That is just my assumption and my guess. Could be wrong. And it's going to go on to the Senate. It's not going to do anything in the Senate, and even if it were to pass the Senate, Biden has already said he's going to veto it, and it won't get the veto vote. It won't get a 60 vote. So I think what the Democrats are more worried about right now, besides Trump winning again, is they're really worried about. They had an internal poll that leaked. They are guesstimating that the Republicans are going to gain 20 House seats if Biden stays in there. That's a lot. And they're also going to gain seats in the Senate. So it looks like right now, if the data is correct, which I think it is, because it's more than one source and it's pretty unanimous, give or take a little here and there, that a lot of Democrats running for Congress, they're trying to distance themselves away from Joe Biden, and it's hurting them. It's hurting them in winning their elections. So So, a lot of people running for office are being hurt by Biden policies. It also explains why Angus King didn't run any pride stuff on his social media, and Janet Mills didn't mention a damn thing, really, in June. Hey. Checking to see if that guy had a MAGA hat on or not. He looked Hispanic. Kind of looked like a MAGA hat. He had it on backwards, so I couldn't see it. Probably just the Red Sox or something. So there we have it. There it is. The church across the street. Pretty cool. Oh, another thing I did is I changed my car insurance. Now it's official. Got my new insurance card today. Takes effect tomorrow. Geico is just charging too much money. And you know, I didn't like my deductible. I didn't have roadside assistance. Now I got roadside assistance and I have a much better deductible. I'm pretty happy about that. this sign here. Let's see if it still says 80 degrees. See what they got on sale. Chicken teriyaki, that's always good. Come on, where's the time? Time and temp. Let's go. Ooh, Red Frank's, $12.99. Pizza packs, those are good. Make your own pizzas. Caveman steak. Yes, I want the time and the temperature, please. Every time I come by here, they get the time and temp. Now they're going to make me wait. Lobster rolls, those are always good over here. Oh, this is ridiculous. Yeah, great. Show me the time and temp. Pork creton, that's a French thing. Welcome to Bork's Market. (10:14 p.m. 80 degrees, July 11th. As you can see, 10:14 at night. Across the street it says 10:07. We'll let them fight with each other. But it's 80 degrees. Past 10 o'clock at night. So yes, it's very warm, very humid. Which was something else I did today with my temperature probe, my automotive temperature probe. That is a temperature probe through a voltage meter that I ran my AC in my car on high, full blast. And that's how you test the AC, and you always test the center console. But you put your car in park, you put your AC on maximum AC, put the fan on full blast, and make sure you have air conditioning coming out of your center vent, or whatever your system is for that. So I did that. And the temperature I got out of my center vent today, when it was 92 degrees outside, and that's very important, and also the relative humidity is as well. I'll get to that in a minute. So, in 90 degrees, rounded off to 90, relative humidity, which today was 98%. So with the humidity, according to the chart I had, that humidity at 90 degrees outside, temperature in the vent, coming through the center with the AC maxed, fans on max, after you've let it run for a little while to get maximum coolness, the temperature in the vent, just before it comes out, should be 50. I believe it's 46 to 52 degrees is an acceptable normal automotive AC when it's that hot and that much humidity. And the humidity does matter. If the humidity was 60%, then temperature changes. It should be 38 degrees to 42 or something like that. So it matters a lot because you got a condenser in there and it just matters. So anyway, my coldest temperature was 50 in the vent with 90 degrees outdoors with very high humidity. So that's normal, that's good. So my 20-year-old car blows cold. And I recharged the AC at the beginning of winter because it was acting up. Did that about 5 or 6 years ago too, so I think about every 5 or 6 years. Can't guess with that though. You need to use a gauge. You need a gauge for the PSI. Very importante. It's a very important thing with that. Because you put too much refrigerant in there and it will cause your system to not work right. And you'll be making a new problem. Also, you have oils in there that are a lubricant. So you need to use a good quality refrigerant that has oils in it. Keep your seals from drying out and breaking, and then losing your AC. Which can happen anyway with age, it really can. The big ticket item is the AC compressor. That can be expensive for the unit itself and then the labor involved. Because basically, you could just replace the compressor, but the problem is all the seals and the evaporator, things like that, those are all old too. And you know, if you got an older car, you definitely don't want to spend $2,000 fixing the AC. You just don't. So we replace just the compressor and then you do a coolant fill. Probably get away with that for a little while, but eventually the rest of the system is going to catch up to the compressor failing. So the compressor will still be good, but other stuff will fail. What I'm not looking forward to in this car, and it's a notorious problem for this one, is the heater core. The heater core is behind the firewall, and it's also behind your dashboard in the car. Unfortunately for this car, the procedure to get to it is not very nice. It's not friendly, and it's going to take a long time to do it. It's the kind of thing you'll want to do yourself just because of the labor involved. And you got to take your center console out where your shift is. You got to take your driver's seat out. You have to take 3 components in your dashboard out. So a lot of screws, a lot of parts. There's a couple of videos online from my car. And then when you get to the heater core, there's a procedure to do that too. So it's definitely not going to be fun. And the surefire way to tell that you're losing your heater core via a leak is actually physically seeing coolant on the ground underneath the driver's side or wherever your heater core is. So if you start seeing that, another sure tell sign is getting in your car and you put your vent on and you have a kind of a pungent stench, which is coolant you're smelling. And it smells like coolant. Now don't confuse that with kind of a mildew kind of smell, which that can stink also, which is what I get with mine. But you know, if you know what the type of alcohol smell that is in coolant, just sniff your container of coolant. If it smells like that, then you have a coolant leak in your heater core, and you're smelling it inside your car when you have the vent on. So things like that you can do. Check that if you got an older car. And also the obvious, you'll lose coolant level. But that's kind of hard to pin down too, because you'll lose coolant level depending on ambient temperature. You know, it expands the most when it's hot, cools off, it constricts. But you know, your system is pressurized. And when you take your radiator cap off, you should hear the pressure release. You should hear it go kind of a noise like that. And the coolant level should be right up by where the cap is. Shouldn't be very much air in there at all. If there is, then you might have a coolant leak somewhere. It's not maintaining pressure. So there's all kinds of things you can do to check. Sometimes your radiator cap can go bad and you won't get it pressurized. There's always a danger of overheating from that, because the radiator cap keeps pressure in your system and it changes the boiling temperature of your coolant. So that's why that happens. And so that's what we get with that. And so I know a little bit of tidbits like that. Your AC system, you got to check your send side and your receive side. And the send side should be cold and the receive side should be hot. In fact, there's a spot up by the evaporator that if you touch it in your line, it should be so hot that it actually causes you to pull your fingers away. Like, oh my God, that's so hot. That's how hot that's supposed to get. That's normal, because when refrigerant is compressed, it gets very hot. Which is the same principle as to why diesel engines run, because once you get a diesel engine going, the compression of the cylinder is actually so high it ignites the fuel. That's what it runs on. So if you compress something enough, you squeeze it hard enough, it'll actually explode, like oxygen or air or anything like that. So so that's why the compressor gets hot. That's also why your air compressor gets hot. When you have an air compressor in your house, you hear it chugga 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 chugga, and then if you touch it, it gets really hot. So that's what your compressor in the car does. It gets very hot. Which is why it has where it's located is important in there. It's usually freestanding out in the open, so air can get to it and cool it off. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the walk tonight. I did. I'm gonna head on down the street side. There's less traffic right now, less chance for me to get yelled at by a car going by. I really have no idea why people are amused by that, but I really hate it every time it happens. Because it makes you jump. That's why they do it. Kind of makes you want to smack somebody right in the face for doing it. That's, you know. Whew, definitely quiet tonight. Definitely a good walk tonight. Hope you enjoyed that. I don't talk about cars too much when I walk. Probably know more than I think I do because I went to school for it. But I took more of the business side of it than I did for actually doing mechanics work, even though we did work on transmissions and changing ball joints, repacked wheel bearings, and I learned why Dodge vans are terrible. Don't ever buy one. There was a simple thing just to change the radiator fluid. You had to take the whole front end apart, all the headlight assembly. You had to take all of that off just to change the coolant. I was like, why would anybody build this like that? So, anyways, also didn't have a fun experience releasing fuel pressure in a Dodge, what the hell was that? It was a Saturn. It was actually a Saturn. Did not enjoy that either. Needed a special tool for that. It was pretty stupid, actually. You know, some GM cars, all you have to do is take the fuse out for the fuel pump and then try to start the car, and it ignites whatever's fuel's in there and it relieves the pressure. It's like easy peasy lemon squeezy. Anyways, Pizza Hut, time to end the walk. Thank you for walking with me. Hope you had a good time. Stay safe, everybody. Drink liquids. It's freaking humid all across the country. It's hot. People have died out in the west, southwest, so take care of yourselves. And we will talk to you soon, everybody. Have a beautiful rest of the week into the weekend. Happy Friday tomorrow.